takes up every corner of your mind. You're sitting in the silence, drowning in the doubt. I've been sitting there before. I know there's a way out. The world feels like it's caving in. Those dark thoughts, don't let them win. Just stay. Just stay. I know it's almost more than you can take. Please just stay. I swear the light will find you someday, and you'll be glad you stayed. So just stay.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another week of the Just Stay podcast. We're excited to be here again. It's been, I think it's been over a week since we recorded and released. We've kind of run into some hiccups when it comes to our podcast and our platform.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know where to begin. Brandee and I were talking before this, and we obviously, there are things that we feel like maybe we shouldn't say, or things that we should keep about this whole process that we should keep to ourselves right now, so that it doesn't kind of come back to bite us. But we also want to be transparent with what's been going on. Just kind of some unnecessary drama that we never really thought we'd encounter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do we want to start from the beginning?
Yeah. I
What do you
mean,
think?
yeah, I don't, we say we have to be careful
know,
with what
I'm
we
like,
say, and then I
what
just
do we
want to
even
spill
say?
it all. So we were reached out to by a couple different people, and we needed to change the way we do things with our name, that our name had been trademarked by somebody else, and so on and so forth. And it took us a couple days to get some legal advice. And within that couple days, all of our platforms that we have built over this last 8 months were being taken down because they had been reported without us doing any due diligence or trying to find out what was going on.
Yeah. And truthfully, it was like, it happened so fast. And Brandee and I mean, we didn't even really get a chance to talk about it in person because we got the email. To be honest, I immediately kind of thought it was a scam, which at this point I'm not even convinced it's not. But I thought, oh, we maybe, Brandee's going to reach out. We didn't think it was this urgent thing, right? And yeah, Brandee reached out for some legal advice, and next thing we know, I just, like, it was that morning, a couple things were shut down, and then like several hours later, more things were shut down. And I don't know, it really bugged me, especially when it got to our Instagram, which is like our main form of communicating with our followers, I guess, just because I really feel like it has been like this documentation of kind of what we've gone through, what we've with a podcast. Yeah. And I'm really proud of it. So to think that all of a sudden it was just taken away from us. There were many times this week where I was like, my blood was just boiling and I was trying to figure out how to calm myself down. And and not get too emotional about it. But yeah, I mean, I know you feel this way too. The sad thing is our company and this other company are both going after the same thing. Like we're working towards the same thing. We're both trying, or at least I hope that's what they're trying to do. But the claim is that we're both trying to work towards the same goal, and that is, spread awareness for suicide prevention, the importance of mental health. And I think that that's a very noble cause. I just have been really frustrated by that concept that, where there should be room for everyone,
Yeah. Yeah. And I do feel like, this was never about business for us. And so I don't know if this is impeding on somebody else's business and taking away business. And if so, I'm sorry. Like, we're not making money on this. This has never been about the money. And so, yeah, it's just, I would say it's more hurtful than anything, because I feel like we could be partners in this space. And yeah, I kind of, I have found some peace in this space. And I do kind of feel like that peace has been shattered this week, because there's been so much contention and conflict and confrontation in our safe space that we created. And so we're just letting you guys know, because we don't want you to think that we disappeared. We're just trying to navigate this, and we are reaching out to resources, and we're doing all of our due diligence and seeing what our rights are. And we're also not trying to step on anybody's toes. And that way, if we do need to take some things down, it will be done. We just, and so, yeah, we're not abandoning the platform. We're not doing it. We just are in a space right now of being very careful, and we need to be careful what we say. We need to be careful with what we release, because we don't want to do something that would further infringe on that trademark, I guess. Kenzie and I were talking before we started, and this has kind of been one of those weeks that it's raining and pouring. A lot has been going on, and I really haven't felt like this since before my son passed, because I would say the last year and a few months, it's really solely focused on healing and your mourning and your grief journey. And now real life is hitting, and it's so, the stuff, well, some of it's very trivial. That doesn't matter. And so I'm trying not to allow myself to be affected, but it's weird because physically I feel like I'm drained and not feeling like I have the energy to even fight.
Yeah, I get that. You have had one heck of a week, and I don't know, like even just with me with trying to deal with all the podcast stuff this week, like that's been a lot. Factoring in the other things that you have going on, like it's been heavy. And I don't know, this I feel like this time of year too, I mean, we talked about this last episode, like this time of year is great, but it can also be really hard. I think that's another reason that I guess I've been bothered by everything that's been going on, is I just like really wanted to, I guess, provide support to people that are struggling during this season. And I feel like that's been kind of taken away from us a little bit, the ability to do that. So yeah, it's been a little frustrating, but when it rains, it pours. And I feel like that's just been the case this week.
Yeah. But I feel like through the hard, we also have a lot to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I love this time of year. And I've heard from multiple people, like the first year after you lose somebody is hard, and then the second year is harder. And I would say this year so far, like I'm not saying it's easy, but I feel like I'm doing more than just surviving. And I'm looking forward to Christmas. I'm looking forward to spending time with my family. It's funny because I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, I am so physically exhausted. Like, I just want to sleep all the time. And I am so tired. And he goes, oh, well, the holidays are coming up and you'll be able to rest. It's like, I think you're the only one that still believes in Santa Claus at our house. And I'm like planning, Christmas Eve and then
All
Christmas Day, and his family's coming over. That's the thing is I love it and I know they all love it, but he said that and I was like, what? When have you ever seen me relax on a holiday? I am the planner. I am the host. I am the I love that about you. And I do find that last year I kind of felt like I wanted to be more secluded and just alone in my grief with my family. And this year, I think it has helped to surround ourselves with the people that we love. So Thanksgiving was probably one of the best Thanksgivings we've ever had. And Christmas kind of having the same plan and keeping busy and lots of cousins and brothers and sisters around. And so I think I found out this year how important human connection is, and keeping that through the hard times has been very good for us so far. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's really amazing. I love that perspective just because I think that I think sometimes when I know that there's going to be stress involved, I'm a little more on the pessimistic side just because I need to stop saying this, but I've always said I don't handle stress well. I don't handle stress well. I'm not good with stress. Like I break down, I crumble under the pressure of stress. But I'm trying to change that narrative in my head because if I'm constantly telling myself that, then of course that's what the outcome's going to be. I think because of that narrative that sometimes it's not that I dread the holidays, but I think it takes away from some of the joy that I could feel, And so I really like that perspective because it's a really wonderful time to be surrounded by the people that you love. And we're so fortunate to have, people in our lives that we want to be around. And I'm going down to Arizona to be with my side of the family for Christmas. I'm just really, the stress of it is getting to me, but I'm really grateful that, it's going to be the first time that my kids will get to spend Christmas with my side of the family since when they'll actually remember, I guess. When Lennon was little, we did. But anyway, so yeah, it's going to be really great. I just trying to not let the stress take away from the joy is tricky sometimes. So I love that you can have that more positive outlook. I need to practice that.
Yeah. I used to be a really high anxiety person, and I would say I still get anxiety, but it's about things in my life that I can't really control or things that happen. But when it comes to things that I can plan and that I don't know, this stuff doesn't stress me out or give me anxiety anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And I think the better I plan, and then if I start to plan too much and I get just stressed, I just wing it. And I think as long as everybody's together, it's going to be good. It's hard to have a bad time when you're surrounded by people you love.
Yeah. Do you think that came with life experience or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know. I feel like my capacity to do more and stress less is more. And I also think that when there's things I don't want to do, I just don't do them. I feel very I wouldn't call it inner peace because I definitely don't have that, but it's like an inner calm that has never been there. And I think it's been there more since my son passed. And I don't know where it comes from. I don't know, maybe the things that used to seem like a big deal, they're not.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us stress about things that are just not worth the energy to stress about.
Yeah. And I feel like you always remind me of that there really is the things that are the most important in life are what really matter. And then all the rest is, I don't know, just kind of filler. One thing that I love about you is that you're always reminding me what truly matters in life. And I think that's a gift. But I realize that gift came with pain and hurt. It's not something that you just one day woke up with.
Yeah. And I think if you look back on your life and you have all these really great memories, and behind the scenes, there was probably somebody stressing, trying to make that happen for you, whether it was like a birthday party or a Christmas or something, you don't remember the stress that came before that.
That is so true.
Like, that's not what matters. Even when I look back at my wedding or anything like that, I don't remember the stress leading up to it. I just remember what an amazing day it was. And I think that's just in life in general. Like, yeah, you can stress about it in order to make memories, but that's not what's going to stick with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. My husband is he is really good about reminding me that some of the things I feel like I need to do aren't a necessity. And so he will be like, why are you so stressed? What's stressing you out? And I'll list all the ways. And he's like, well, I can think of at least 2 things that you're trying to do that aren't necessary. And when he comes at me so logical, I'm like, well, when you say it like that, it doesn't feel like it's such a big deal. And so he really helps me to categorize what's worth the stress and what's not. But I think traveling to see your family for the holidays is absolutely worth the stress that comes up for you with traveling and with kids and
For sure.
with all of it.
For sure. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she came in and was like, our daughters do dance together, and she walks in and she's just like so flustered and starts going on about how she has had like the worst anxiety in the past couple days, and lists off all these things that have been going on. And she said that she had like a full-on like moment where she was so stressed at the dentist because her kid was freaking out, and that she, like, the dentists were talking to her, but she literally wasn't comprehending what they were saying. Like, she was not there. And then she went home and just cried and had a moment, and I was like, I started smiling, and I think she was confused why I was smiling. And I was just like, I'm so sorry that you went through that, but I just need you to know that it makes me so happy that you're being so honest with me, and that I'm now feeling like I'm not crazy, because I go through that crap, like that same feeling where my brain is just so fried that I don't even know what's happening. And she explained the feeling so well. And it was just like a moment that I had where I just was so grateful that she felt comfortable enough to be vulnerable, even if it was embarrassing. And I was like, I felt so much less alone. I've always thought like everyone handles stress so much better than I do. And so in that moment, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not, alone in that. Yeah, I completely agree that I know that my girl, like behind the scenes, that my girls probably aren't going to remember a lot of the situations where I'm like really stressed, but I hope that they'll remember all of the fun times that I tried to make available to them,
Well, they're never going to remember you stressing to fly out, but they're going to remember like going to visit their grandma and grandpa. I was thinking about this as you were talking, because I think what elicits a lot of stress from especially young moms is we like to think about the narrative going on in other people's heads around us. And I was thinking today, there was a 2-year-old that came in for a haircut. And it's going to be a hard haircut if both the mom and the dad bring the kid in. And we do a lot of haircuts on kids in particular that have sensory issues. And so today, the haircut takes about half an hour, and the kid screams the whole time and cries and like ups and downs. And just when you think he's going to stop, he starts up again. And I'm working on like 2 to 3 clients during this half-hour period. And every single one of my clients said, poor little guy, like he's not enjoying himself, But I was thinking of the mom in that situation. The narrative going on in her head, because I've been there, is these people are probably all so annoyed. They're here to get their haircut. They're here to relax. And my kid is ruining the experience for everybody. And nobody was bothered by her screaming kid. In fact, moms that look frazzled after those really hard haircuts, I'll go up to them and just say, hey, I just want to let you know you're always welcome here. Like, that doesn't bother us. But the narrative that we put in our own heads that is not even what people are thinking elicits so much stress and anxiety. And I was like, I wish these parents could hear these women be so empathetic. Like, that poor little guy needs a haircut and he is just not enjoying it. You know, or one was like, oh, my son used to do that. I got kicked out of one salon because my daughter was screaming so loud, you know? And so I think sometimes we need to stop and take a pause and reflect and be like, is this what people are saying? Have they said that? Or is this what I assume people are saying that's causing me so much pain and anxiety in this moment?
Yeah. I think that's one of the big reasons that I think traveling with kids stresses me out so much is that very same thing. Like, I have this fear of being trapped on a plane with my screaming 2-year-old. When she gets going, nothing will stop her. But you know what? If that's the case, it's a short flight. And honestly, if there is someone that's judging us, I mean, I can't control that, but I'm sure that most of those people have been parents or are parents. And I think parents are probably a little more empathetic, you know, but yeah, it's that same fear, like, oh my gosh, I'm just cringing because I'm bothering people. And, you know, but why do we do that to ourselves? Because it's probably not.
Well, if there's people are that cringing and bothered, like, what's that saying everybody says now? Let them.
Yeah.
Let them be bothered. That says more about them than it does about you.
Yeah.
They're bothered by a 2-year-old. Like, do they not remember what it was like to have a 2-year-old? Let them be bothered. You can't control that. And your stress and anxiety doesn't control that for them.
That is so true. I do have, when you were saying earlier that you don't stress, or do you stress over things that you can't control ever? Because you said something like you don't stress over the things that you can control. So I was going to ask you, like, do you find yourself stressing over the things that you can't control?
Yeah, like I'm stressed about the situation. Yeah. Like, that's out of my control, but the way I handle it is very well in my control. I also realized that a lot of times when I stress, it's a secondary emotion. My stress for me is a secondary emotion, and I'm masking my primary emotion to hide from what's really bothering me. So I like, every once in a while something will surprise me and I get instant anxiety. Like, my heart starts racing and I get panicky and I get teary-eyed. And then I'm like, okay, so this is anxiety. And then once I do some breathing and I kind of slow down, I'm like, why did that bother me so much? That hurt. That hurt my feelings. That made me feel unsafe. And so if I can identify my emotions that come along with it, then it helps me to deal with them. But if I'm just focused on the stress and not trying to identify the underlying emotions, I can never deal with them. Like, this is anxiety. And I just explain it away as anxiety. And I'm like, no, actually, that's my trauma resurfacing. That actually hurt me. That made me angry. That triggered this for me. So I'm trying to be more self-reflective in those moments. And I'm finding that when I do that, my anxiety doesn't escalate to panic. So I'm not saying I'm like perfect at doing it all the time. But yeah, I think identifying the emotion that's causing it for me really helps.
That's very interesting. I'm going to have to try that. When you were talking, I was trying to put myself in the last position that I was in, where I felt anxiety or felt stressed. And I think a lot of it is fear-based. Like, I think I have this fear. I don't know why, but just I like being in control. I think everyone likes being in control of what's going on. But I am not a spontaneous person at all. In fact, we joke that I can be spontaneous if it's a secret, like planned spontaneity or whatever. Like if I have an idea of what's going on, I'm okay. But if I have a plan in my head, and it's almost always a plan that no one else knows about, it's just my plan, and then things don't go according to that plan,
it sends you spiraling.
Yeah, it does. And it's really bad. To be honest, I didn't notice that I was so bad at that. And Tanner will literally be like, Kenz, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And it's just like, I am checked out. Like, I am shutting down. Anyway, my point in saying that is I just really, for some reason, my brain really values reliability and control and certainty. Mm-hmm. And so when you throw things in there that aren't guaranteed, I have a really, really hard time. Yeah. And, logically, I'm like, okay, next time this happens, I'm just going to talk myself through it. I'm going to say, I don't have to be in control. Everything's fine. I'm not in danger. I'm not threatened. And I have this whole plan. And then it happens. And it's like all of that common sense just goes out the freaking window,
But I wonder if you could identify, so a lot of times when we plan something and say somebody's late or waiting on somebody, and that throws us, that's one of my things that gives me anxiety. That underlying for me is frustration and not feeling like I can count on people. And so I've had to kind of start planning ahead for that. My husband is a prime example. I am high strung. I wish I wasn't. I wish I knew how to unwind. I am high strung.
It's okay.
To the point where it scares some people, your husband included sometimes. But my husband is the most laid back, easygoing in certain situations. And then in other situations, I'm like, why is that bothering you? But my husband's sense of time is not something that he, if we have to be somewhere, he gets in the shower 5 minutes before we have to leave. And I'm like, what are you doing? You've been sitting on the couch for 20 minutes. And so in order to combat that, I will tell him that we have to be somewhere half an hour before we have to be somewhere.
Genius.
It starts at 6:30. No, it starts at 7. But when we get there at 6:45, I'm not going to be stressed.
I love that. Honestly, I mean, that's very resourceful. Instead of just always being frustrated about it,
I'm going to get mad
about it.
You're going to be late and I'm going to be mad. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you it's earlier and we're not going to be late and I'm not going to be mad.
Hey, I love that. I love that.
That's kind of how I combat some of it.
Does he, because my husband is there is almost no sense of urgency. There are very certain situations where I'm like, wow, I've never seen him move so fast. But most of the time it's molasses and I'm I get so frustrated. And now my 5-year-old is the exact same way. No sense of urgency. Yeah. And it literally just eats me alive.
Yep.
So
I have to have my son to baseball and my husband gets home 5 minutes before we have to leave. And then all of a sudden he goes in the bathroom, you turn the shower on. My son's like, Mom, we're going to be late. And I'm like, no, we're not. They know if I drive, I will get them there on time. If my husband drives, what are you doing? So he'll walk out and be like, you going to drive? I'm like, yep. If we're going to be late, I will drive.
You know what? That makes me feel so seen.
But the thing is, I kind of lowered my expectation. I planned for failure. So even baseball stuff, I'm like, he's got to be there at 8:15. No, it's 8:45. And so my son, though, is like me, and he likes to be early, and he is a little more anxious if we're going to be late. Mm-hmm. And my daughter's like my husband, and I am knocking on her door every 5 minutes. Okay, we're leaving in 5. I'll be in the car, and then I'm honking in the driveway, and then I'm, and so it's just funny. And then my my son will be like, whenever I try to make him do hard things, like I'll be like, go in and make yourself a follow-up appointment for the doctor. And he's like, Mom, I have social anxiety. And I'm like, you do not. But every time I'm like, call the office and tell him that you have an appointment this morning, you're not going to be to school. And he's like, I can't, I have social anxiety. And I'm like, you need to stop saying that. And he says it because whenever I make him do something that's uncomfortable, he's like, oh yeah, I have social anxiety. I'm like, you're not going to use that as an excuse. And you do not have social anxiety. So
That's funny. That very relatable. I still have a hard time answering the door when there's a knock. It makes me so uncomfortable. I'll actually like run and hide. And Tanner's like, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm sorry. It just makes me nervous. I don't know why.
We have windows in our doors so people can like see in when they knock. And literally, like, we'll be all sitting there and somebody will knock and I'll look around and be like, am I the only one hearing this? Like, nobody moves. The other day, I was in my daughter's room with her and there was a group that texted me about coming by to Christmas Carol, like some young girls to Christmas Carol. And my daughter's 18. She's like, she feels so awkward when these things happen. And I knew they were coming. And when the doorbell rang, I was laying down and I was like, sweetheart, I'm so tired. Can you go get the door?
Stop.
Oh my God. And she answered the door.
That's horrible.
And like, when I walked up, I gave it a few seconds just to let her squirm. And I walked up and she looked at me and I was like, smile. These poor little girls are like, and like halfway through their song, she just walked away. And I was like, I can't believe you did that. She goes, do you know how awkward that is? And I was like, I cannot believe you just walked away right in the middle of the song. So then I like put on my biggest smile and I'm like dancing and I'm like trying to make up for it.
Gosh. Yeah, that is my nightmare, Christmas carolers. So that's so funny. It's so funny how everyone's so different. And honestly, everyone's quirky. Everyone has their quirks.
Yeah. I remember when I was younger running to the door because I liked to see who was there so much. Like it was a race with my siblings. You weren't like this even when you were little?
I mean, I don't think so. Maybe I was when I was young. I don't remember. My only memory is just being terrified of opening the door. Oh. And I keep thinking it's because we don't have a peephole now.
Yeah.
But no, we have a Ring camera. I can literally see who's there. And even if it's someone I know, I just don't.
Okay, when I go to your house, I'm going to like, if you don't answer, I'm going to know. She sees me on the camera.
Gosh, it's hard.
It's just funny the way different people are wired.
I know, right?
But it makes us all unique and special. And I appreciate that about people.
Yeah.
We need a little more lighthearted conversation today. I feel lighter.
I know. We needed to laugh.
We did. I think sometimes these lighthearted ones, it just comes when I need it. So thank you for doing that. And to our listeners, thank you for being here. We will be here as long as we can be, and we will fight to be here with you guys. So thank you for being here for another week, and we hope to see you next week.
Have a Merry Christmas. See ya.
See